Buddhism is a world religion founded by the Buddha in ancient India. Buddhists seek wisdom, meaning, inner peace, and freedom from greed, hatred, and ignorance. Mutually sustaining life, a Buddhist call to a troubled world.
There is nothing as empty as an existence in which we do not know why we were born into this world, and for what we should devote our lives.
Now share the Buddhist teachings, and here's your guide, Reverend Dr. Kenneth Kenshin Tanaka.
Hello, I'm Ken Tanaka. I'm honored to be able to serve as your guide throughout this program. During the 52 shows of this program series, we wish to accomplish two things. First, we want to offer basic knowledge about Buddhism, especially the early teachings and practice as taught by the Buddha. Secondly, we want to try to address the spiritual and religious concerns of you and I living in the 21st century. And it's our sincere hope that what we have to share with you, both the knowledge and the spiritual dimensions of Buddhism, will add to making your lives more meaningful, while also contributing to the peace and happiness of the world. This program is being sponsored by the Society for the Promotion of Buddhism, or Bukkyo, Dendo, Kyokai. Since 1965, this non-sectarian, non-profit organization has dedicated itself to the promotion of Buddhism throughout the world. For example, the Society has been distributing free of charge the book, The Teachings of the Buddha, in hotels. This book is now translated into 41 different languages, including Swahili, Arabic, Finnish, Tagalog, and English, and is in 1,100,000 rooms in 55 countries. The Society has also established academic chairs of Buddhist studies at 14 universities in Europe and North America that include Oxford University, the University of California at Berkeley, Harvard University, and the University of Calgary. Another project is to translate into English 139 main scriptures from the Chinese Buddhist canon, which, when completed, will contain close to 150 volumes. The Society is thus helping to actualize the meaning of the Wheel of Dharma that we saw portrayed at the beginning of the program. This Wheel of Dharma symbolizes the Buddha's teaching that continues to spread widely and endlessly like a rolling wheel of a cart. Today, the Wheel of Dharma has become the common symbol of Buddhism. Allow me now to introduce myself briefly. I grew up and was educated in public schools in Northern California. My first exposure to Buddhism came at the age of 13 when I began attending the Mountain View Buddhist Temple. Soon after graduating college in 1970, I went to Thailand to live a life of a monk in a Buddhist monastery. With renewed interest in Buddhism, I returned to the U.S. to pursue graduate studies and to eventually earn a PhD from the University of California, Berkeley. Since then, I have been teaching at academic institutions in the U.S. and Japan. My primary spiritual tradition is Jodo Shinshu, one of the main Japanese Pure Land schools. As an ordained priest in that tradition, I also served as a temple minister for a number of years in the 1990s. Now, as for this program, we will periodically be inviting guests to bring expertise to a variety of areas. These shows will be introductory in nature for those who know little or nothing about Buddhism. We shall do our best to make our presentations simple and easy to understand. So, as the Buddha often called out, Ehi Passiko, meaning come here and see, or gather around and check it out. We hope that you will gather around as often as you can so that we can explore together the vital issues of life as reflected in a passage that appeared at the top of this program. There is nothing as empty as an existence in which we do not know why we're born into this world and for what we should devote our lives. In the first segment, we will begin by discussing a very interesting phenomenon of how Buddhism is growing in America. Professor Diana Eck of Harvard University, who is conducting an extensive study of the various religions in the U.S., has stated, Buddhism is now an American religion. This leads me to begin with a question which I bet many of you won't be able to answer correctly. Which city in the world has the largest number of Buddhist schools? You might say Bangkok, Taipei, or Kyoto. The answer is, in fact, Los Angeles, where there are at least 80 different schools of Buddhism. In other words, virtually all the main schools of Buddhism in Asia are now represented in Los Angeles. This is truly amazing. In Asia, Buddhists from different countries have rarely known each other, let alone live in the same community. But in Los Angeles, a Thai and a Korean temple are located on the same street. The same thing can be said for other major metropolitan areas such as Honolulu, the San Francisco Bay Area, Seattle, Tacoma, Chicago, and New York. So, how many Buddhists are there? Most experts estimate this number to be around 3 million. It's been difficult to give a more exact number as there has been no thorough study or a clear criterion for determining who qualifies as a Buddhist. If we include the so-called nightstand Buddhists, those who are not members of any temples or centers, but practice Buddhism in the privacy of their home, doing meditation, and reading Buddhist books at night, hence the term nightstand Buddhists, then the number would be much more. However, even at 3 million, this is a significant number, equivalent to a little over 1% of the U.S. population. Now, of those Buddhists who attend temples and centers, we can perhaps categorize them into 4 groups. First, the new Asian American Buddhists, those who mostly arrived in the U.S. since the 1960s, the Vietnamese, Thai, Korean, Cambodian, Laotian, and Sri Lankan. Second group, the old line Asian American Buddhists, those who were established before the Second World War, the Chinese and the Japanese. Third, convert Buddhists whose main practice is meditation, predominantly Euro-Americans, belonging to Zen, Vipassana, and Tibetan traditions. Fourth group, convert Buddhists whose main practice is chanting, Kyokai International USA, comprised of a sizable percentage of African and Hispanic Americans. Among these four groups, what draws extra attention of the media and the scholars are the convert Buddhists, especially the famous. Someone once made a comment in jest, "Hey, Richard Gere and Tina Turner don't look Buddhist." Well, they may not fit the image, but they are Buddhists and are very dedicated ones at that. There are plenty more convert Buddhists, which is why some time back, Time magazine on its front cover had Brad Pitt, who starred in the popular movie 7 Years in Tibet, with a heading, "The American Fascination with Buddhism." And it dedicated a 10-page article on how and why many Americans are attracted to Buddhism. Well, it's been said that there is a Chinese restaurant in virtually every city in America, but maybe the same is now becoming true of Buddhist and meditation centers. Before we conclude our show, I would like to share a humorous episode from American Buddhism, caused by different Buddhists coming together for the first time. If you don't find it funny now, hopefully you will as you keep watching the program. Well, once a Korean monk and a Tibetan Lama met for a doctrinal debate at a gathering at Harvard University as hundreds looked on. It was an impressive sight when the two eminent monks entered the stage with their flowing robes, attended by their disciples. The Korean master began by thrusting out his arm, holding an orange. He then asked, "What is this?" seeking an answer, which in Zen calls for a profound spiritual understanding. Unaccustomed to this Zen style, the Tibetan Lama seemed perplexed and turned toward his translator as they whispered back and forth for several minutes. As the hushed audience waited in great anticipation, the Tibetan translator finally addressed the crowd. "The master says, what is the matter with him? Don't they have oranges where he comes from?" The debate went no further. Thank you for joining us. Please visit our website for more information. In our next show, we'll be discussing meditation with a guest. We hope to see you next week.
We at Bukkyo Dendo Kyokai pursue peace and happiness for people around the world. We have published the Buddhist teachings into 41 languages and donated our publication to hotels and other facilities in 55 countries. We would like to share the Buddhist teachings with people around the world. That's our mission. Visit our website for more information.